Yo, what is happening, fanbase, and welcome back to another episode of Honest Descriptions. Today, an honest description of all of Saitama's punches in One Punch Man. I will be talking about Season 1 today. If you like, I will be doing one on Season 2 when that wraps up, and perhaps one on the manga after that. Now, I realize I'm not supposed to give my opinion, but you should definitely subscribe for those because this video is low-key making me very proud. For those of you who are unaware of what honest descriptions are, well, the word honest is definitely in quotation marks. And for those of you aware of what honest descriptions are, One Punch Man has awoken my inner meme. So prepare for trouble and make it double. I like to think of myself as a rather self-aware person. I understand that I make all these super deep philosophical analysis video thingos on One Punch Man because I legit think it's freaking epic, but I also can take myself not seriously enough to realize how epic of a terrible meme I have become in that regard. Mosquito versus One Punch Man. Literally nobody. Knux Taku. So without further ado, time for some honesty. So the first punch I would like to be talking about is Saitama versus Vaccine Man, a very high intensity battle that drew out for almost as many episodes as the Naruto War arc, with fighting going on both sides, and it ended up with Saitama giving him one punch and him splattering everywhere, much to everyone's surprise. So, Vaccine Man is upset about the pollution that humanity is causing to the Earth. We are killing our own planet, and Vaccine Man will purge humanity to save the planet. Truly a noble goal for a villain. I'm so happy he got so much character development, and then Saitama one-punched him and didn't even think twice about his goals. He just immediately fell down on his hands, and he's upset that he was able to defeat him in one punch, even though this guy was hyped up as being such a powerful villain. Now, the deep philosophical message that this clearly poses is, despite the fact that humans are destroying our planet with carbon monoxide emissions, with farting, and with weebs, still, despite all of that being completely accurate, and we are destroying our ecosystem, with most of us not even caring about that in the slightest, One Punch Man tells us a meta commentary issue on the matter. That, much like Saitama, the hero, how in our perception we see him as the true light and beacon of justice, he beats him and he's upset that he didn't have more of a challenge, because this is the deep metaphorical concept of how humans don't give a shit about the environment. Man, do I love how Saitama versus Vaccine Man is literally a meta commentary on society and human nature itself. One Punch Man truly surpasses itself with every episode and every punch. I especially like how Saitama punches Vaccine Man into oblivion before Vaccine Man even finishes his sentence, exploring the beautiful depth of human psychology that no one listens to what anyone else has to say when they're ready to thrust. But Knux, don't you always say la 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 la? Retarded Suzaku, I don't want to hear what you have to say. One Punch Man has taught me the greatness of not allowing people to finish their sentences. You find that most people wind up not disagreeing with you this way. It's very cool, very progressive, and politicians use this tactic wrong. Next punch, Saitama versus the Colossal Titan. So this is a crossover a lot of people wanted to see, and Colossal Titan guy, when he used his attack against Saitama, he screamed, "Behold our brotherly power." Now this is stated right after he accidentally killed his own brother. So when he says brotherly power, yeah, big oof there. So now that he's living in the crushing emptiness of being so powerful and stuff, Saitama says, "I relate," and then destroys him in a single punch. This clearly reflects upon human nature in how we view ourselves alongside others. The guy killed his own brother and still tried to split the blame with him and his brother, saying, "Behold our brotherly power," as if his brother is partially at fault here. I mean, granted, he did turn him into a Colossal Titan. Yes, that was very cool. But that's clearly representative of the fact that elder brother had pride in his invention, so his pride, which became his invention, being his younger brother, is what destroyed him, while his younger brother became the Colossal Titan because he only sought power, and his power was what caused him to kill his brother. He still called his attack brotherly love because he held on to him deep in his heart, but felt a crushing emptiness of what his immense power has actually done to him. It's destroyed him. And Saitama says to him, "Nah fam, I'm still worse," and then punches him in the face, annihilates him. He loses many of his teeth, and those ain't teeth your average dentist can replace. Hell nah. So by Saitama telling him, nah fam, I relate, get used to it, what he's actually saying is, I understand all the tragic shiz you've been going through. I understand why your life now is wound up in a puddle of meaninglessness because, well, my life sucks more. This is the human conundrum, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever someone is going through something hard, you don't want to try to console them or anything. No! I've seen Twitter. That never happens. What you want to do is point out to them why your life is actually way worse than theirs. Oh, did someone on Instagram break their arm? Well, I kind of feel bad for you. I can relate, being that I was mostly eaten by a pack of rabid chipmunks. Yeah, you gotta lay it on them. Oh, did you get a scar in an ugly place? Well, I do feel bad for you. Or at least that's what I would say if my injury still allowed me to speak. That's right. Immediately, all their pain and suffering will go away due to the beautiful life lesson Saitama is teaching us. Colossal Titans wallowing in self-pity? Well, tell him that all your issues I have, and they're way worse for me. It works for everyone on the internet. It should work for you too. Thanks, Saitama, for teaching us this incredible life lesson. This is why One Punch Man is so damn good. Getting to the meat and potatoes of human interaction. I'm glad that the Knux Taku channel has become a source of positivity for so many. I feel like I'm helping the world, you know? You gotta always look up and realize that your life is worse than everyone else's and everyone else should know that. So thanks, Saitama. Very cool. Next punch! Or in this case, slap. It's Saitama versus Mosquito Amman. When Mosquito Amman is ravaging the near corpse of Saitama's close friend Jenos, well, to be close friend Jenos, and Jenos is about to self-destruct in order to take down Mosquito Amman with her, Saitama steps in, gives her a bitch slap, and she splatters all over the wall. Now this clearly represents the beauty of relationships. I actually low-key made a deep philosophical analysis of the Mosquito fight, so if you'd like to see that, check there. But if you want an honest analysis of the Mosquito fight, clearly Mosquito Amman is a blood-sucking bitch, and blood-sucking everything out of Jenos, her former partner that she was battling against. Now, this is clearly representing a couple in a relationship and how Mosquito Amman is sucking him dry to the point that he's ready to self-destruct and take her with him. Now, Saitama, as a good bro should, Saitama is literally the force of good in One Punch Man, as you will come to see, steps in and bitch slaps the Wamman without any evidence that she's in the wrong and Jenos is in the right. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's pretty sexist of Saitama. Why would he assume that Mosquito Wamman's in the wrong? Why wouldn't he bitch slap Jenos? And the reason behind Saitama's genius bitch slap is because if it was a dude, he'd punch the dude. But since Saitama, a role model to us all, is clearly an S-tier respecter of Wamman, he bitch slapped her instead of punching her, which is very respectable and the opportune move to take in this given situation. And then he follows up with one of the most philosophically deepest lines in the entire anime: mosquitoes suck. Because as we know, mosquitoes, those little insects that fly around and land on skin and are potentially some of the most annoying creatures on the planet, they suck blood. Hence the line, mosquitoes suck. And suck can also be used for the word stink. So it's an insult to mosquitoes, but also stating mosquitoes' actual being. The line mosquitoes suck means so much more than you could possibly tell on first glance. Some may call it a pun, but I think it's delving deep into Saitama's philosophical reservoir. And in case some of you are not convinced by the action Saitama took here, that they're clearly promoting gender equality, I have to tell you one thing. Throughout One Punch Man, Saitama's always going around punching villains, destroying them, but if you pay attention, most of them are males. Like, Saitama's not gonna be that guy that only beats up male villains. No! Saitama's gonna beat up female villains too with the respect they deserve. You think a villain Wamman's gonna get off the hook? No! If he lets villain Wamman off the hook, then that is sexist. So, without any discrimination whatsoever, he will demolish villain Wamman as well. By Saitama annihilating Mosquito Wamman with a slap, not a punch, he not only clearly puts his foot down in regards to gender equality, that he will decimate man or Wamman when they deserve it, but he also is clearly a gentleman and deals with her with a slap as opposed to a punch. So, not only is Saitama a gentleman, but he also is an advocate for gender equality. By slapping Mosquito Wamman into oblivion, he managed to be that person that opens a door chivalrously for a Wamman to enter, but also simultaneously promotes the idea that the Wamman is strong enough to open the door for herself. And he does so with a simple slap. There's so much we could learn from One One Punch Man. So much could be learned here, but since I'm running low on time, if I cover every punch so in depth like this, if you and a Amman are ever entering double doors, open one door for her. That way, you're chivalrous because you're opening a door for her, but you also respect her power in being able to open the second door by herself. This is the solution to modern problems that Saitama devised, and it's something that I hold dear to my heart. Next punch! It's when the green bug monster thingo breaks into Saitama's apartment, and before he even finishes introducing himself, Saitama splatters his brains all against the wall. Now, the obvious reason for Saitama destroying him before he finishes introducing himself is because it's only proper manners that if someone introduces themselves, you have to give your name back to them. And Saitama understands, being that he is a man of culture, that if Bug Monster Dude finishes telling him who he is, it's only appropriate for Saitama to reciprocate this action, and then everyone would know about Saitama's secret identity. So to prevent this, he takes the gentleman approach and annihilates him in the middle of a sentence so he doesn't even finish introducing himself. Thank you, Saitama, for teaching us true etiquette in this day and age. God, I love One Punch Man. Next punch! When Saitama fights Lion Dude, the self-proclaimed king of the beast, he uses consecutive normal punches. Now, the obvious reason behind this is you have to understand the fragile ego of a man. More importantly than getting his ass beat, his pride must not be hurt. If you're playing against someone in any sort of game, be it Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, at least make it look like you're trying your hardest. Don't enter the Pokemon battle with only 3 Pokemon, and that way, if you win, your opponent sucks. And if you lose, then, oh well, you were only using 3 Pokemon. This is the ultimate dick move that we can all relate to. As an older brother, I relate to this dick move very well. I'm getting off topic. The point is, Lion Dude, the king of the beasts, he calls himself a king, so you must treat him as such, with consecutive normal punches. Oh, don't hold back. Definitely obliterate him completely, but let him at least think he was worthy of more than a single punch. This is why I respect Saitama so much, because he takes Lion Dude's feelings into account. He understands the fragile ego of Lion Dude, and he'll take extra steps and extra measures to make Lion Dude happy. As he blows him to bits, of course. I'm not saying make your opponent happy to the point that they win. No! Never give any freebies, ever. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, make it look like you're trying. Own it if you lose. Rule number 3, Saitama then looks at Mole Guy. He doesn't even need to punch him. He just needs to look at him. And that's enough. Consecutive normal punches serves a different feat entirely. Not only does he save the ego of Lion Dude like a true bro, but then he scares the living crap out of Mole Dude with just 2 expressions on his face. Again, playing into the same theme. Either scare your opponent till he wets himself before you fight, but if you actually fight, give him a match that he could be proud of once it's over. This is an inner, deeper look on the art of dick move bro. Saitama's not a dick move bro type person. He'll annihilate all of his opponents, but he'll do it with honor, dignity, and by respecting his opponents. Next punch! He's up against Carnage Kabuto. Carnage Kabuto is the ultimate House of Evolution lifeform thingo. It is so damn powerful, Dr. Jenos, not Jenos, that's a totally different thing, is sure that it'll be able to defeat One Punch Man. Now, Saitama, of course, defeats it in a single punch, but you have to notice, even though he witnessed Carnage Kabuto annihilate Jenos, I mean, he destroyed Jenos, he made him look like mashed potatoes. But still, the reason why Saitama defeated Carnage Kabuto in a rage was because he might miss the sale at the supermarket. This is the important commentary on society that one should never stand between a man and his tummy. This is an extremely important rule that all must follow, and those who don't realize the importance will be turned into green mush, just like Carnage Kabuto. Jenos getting completely destroyed by him, that stuff builds character. But if you stop me from eating, oh, all hell will break loose. That's the beauty of Saitama versus Carnage Kabuto, and I think we could all learn a lot from that as well. Man, this show just gets me. Next punch! Saitama is up against this guy in this epic suit of armor. The armor makes him so much more powerful, it's frightening. So what does Saitama do? Of course, Saitama destroys the armor with his punch, but leaves the man within the armor unharmed. So many people clothe themselves with things to make them who they aren't really. They think that they're happy in this false false pretext of how they're allowing others to perceive them, and they think they're growing more powerful, when in actuality, that is what makes them suffer the most. Saitama realizes all of this instantly, of course. He sees his opponent as a fellow man with a bald head, and feels compassion in his heart. He destroys his costume, allowing this buff bald man to run away naked, because it's better to run around flailing naked publicly and getting publicly humiliated than to dress up like something you're not. Remember this, friends. If you see someone, perhaps a friend of yours, and he's not exactly acting the way he normally is inside, you know him well, and you see he's putting up a facade of sorts. He's acting extra cool. He's trying to be extra suave. Pants him. It's the Saitama way. Oh my god, it's the Saitama way is totally gonna become a meme. Next punch! It's him against Speed of Sound Sonic the first time. So, this isn't really a punch. Saitama's kind of keeping his hand in place, and Speed of Sound Sonic just flies at Saitama's hand at the speed of sound, ramming his nuts into Saitama's fist, incapacitating himself. Because sometimes the best course of action is no course of action. You have to know when not to fight, especially if your opponent is trying to ram your fist with his nuts. That's one of those moments where you have to be a pacifist and not fight back. That is on Saitama's side. He understands when he should not fight. An incredibly important lesson to be learned, especially when your opponent seems to be hurting themselves. Well, if they're hurting themselves, that's a good time not to fight. You can't be blamed. But the true philosophical nature of this fight is Speed of Sound Sonic. He has the ability to move super quickly. He has so much faith in his skills. He's suave. He's charismatic. He thinks the world of himself. And yet, when he charges his opponents at the speed of sound, he attempts to ram them with his dick. Because way too many men think and ram random things with their dicks. This is also beautiful meta commentary on the male populace of society. If you see something moving, you don't have to fly at it with your dick. And lesson learned, Saitama. The Knux Taku meat grinder episode was not pretty. Next punch! I'm gonna go a little bit out of order because I feel like I should talk about Speed of Sound Sonic's next attempt at attacking Saitama, because he's flying through the cities, throwing exploding shurikens ever, and he realizes this time he's become a better person. He will not be attacking random adversaries with his dick. Thinking with your dick is not always the greatest strategic maneuver. So what does Saitama do? Saitama realizes that not only can you not think with your dick, but you can't let your opponent tap that from behind, which is exactly what Saitama does to show him his very weakness. With his hand in the beautiful form of a karate chop, he taps that from behind. Because it doesn't matter if you're on the giving end or the receiving end. Some swords should not be polished for every battle, as the Knux Taku meat grinder episode will surely remind us all. Next punch! Saitama versus Jenos. Easily the best animated fight of the series, unless we're talking about Barros, but that's a talk for another day. This fight was spectacular. It's about two bros going head to head, and as we know, bros support bros. Jenos wants to get stronger. Saitama wants to not have to do this with Jenos, so they make a pact. They do this until Saitama overpowers Jenos. That way Jenos can have the fight he wants, and Saitama can end the fight quickly, just like he wants. Bros support bros, and bras support the fallen. But that was a bit of a random tangent. The truth of the matter is, Jenos said to Saitama, "Give me all you got," and Saitama did that and more. Most people think that brute force is what Jenos implied here, but it's clearly not the case. When Jenos was fighting Saitama and Saitama was dodging Jenos' attacks, with Saitama's punch coming in at Jenos, Jenos felt death right before it. He welcomed death. He knew that his time has come. He was about to get one punched by Saitama. His journey was about to end. But Saitama ends his punch a tad short, a little bit away from Jenos' face, but it still somehow has the air pressure to decimate an entire mountain pass behind him. Just like if you look at physics for a second, if it's able to decimate the entire mountain pass behind him, then it should have also definitely decimated Jenos' face, unless Saitama punched in a fashion that the air currents dodged Jenos' face to destroy the mountain pass behind him. Some people may think that that is a flaw in One Punch Man's writing, that this is something that did not make sense, and those people are obviously wrong. Saitama can just bend reality to an extent when it comes to friendship. Now, I am about to express why this is a beautiful way to teach Jenos everything Jenos needed to learn, but even more than that, Saitama needed to exert his full force just so Jenos could see what he was up against. But since the power of friendship, bros support froze. He was able to warp the reality of his punch to blow away the mountain pass behind him due to the power of friendship. This is the best instance of power of friendship in anime since beautiful masterpieces like Fairy Tail and The Heart of the Cards. And I don't give that praise out lightly. Yugi thinks he's cool to draw Exodia. Saitama is Exodia! Anyway, I'm getting off topic again, I apologize. But the beauty of this fight is after his punch stops millimeters away from Jenos' face, what does he do? He turns around and bops Jenos on the nose before walking away to get food. This bop on the nose means so much more than any of you could have ever imagined. I'm sure when most of you have seen this scene, the impressive moment to you was the massive punch coming towards Jenos that Saitama stopped and blew away the mountain pass behind him. You probably didn't even think of the plot hole that it should have blown away Jenos' face that obviously the power of friendship negated. But even more importantly is the tap on the nose. When you're in a fight with your opponent, and when I say opponent, I mean anyone, a sibling, a friend, whether it's a real fight or even a fight for sport. Let me ask you a question, and this is something that we should all be asking ourselves when we watch every single one of Saitama's fights. What hurts more? When your opponent gives you a clobber to the face in the fight, he gets a good hit in, or he stops short because he's far more powerful than you, and then boops you on the nose. There is far much more pain felt by the bop on the nose, and this is scientific fact, actually. It's stated that 97% of combatants would rather take a punch to the face than a boop, while the other three are in the pussy category. The bop is the ultimate sign of humiliation and the ultimate way to express the power gap between them. No, it's not the all-powerful punch that he stopped before hitting Jenos. No, it's not the fact that he was able to warp reality between them to destroy the mountain pass, but it was the bop. And the beauty of Saitama is he's so nonchalant, he didn't even make it seem like he was trying to humiliate Jenos in any way. This was just his way of saying, hey Jenos, let's go grab some grub. He's playing stupid so Jenos doesn't realize Saitama humiliated him, thereby reducing the humiliation by 47%. If humiliation is not intended, then is humiliation really felt? These are the philosophical questions that Saitama asks us in this time of need. So to backtrack just for a few seconds, there's two major things that went on here. Not only did Saitama and his physical attack stop right before Jenos' face, obliterating the mountain pass due to his power of friendship reality warping abilities, so his physical attack did not do damage, but also his psychological attack, the boop on the nose. Well, that also avoided damage. Due to the nonchalance obliviety of Saitama, the humiliation was not felt, whereas if humiliation would be intended by any other opponent, the damage would be cataclysmal and the relationship would probably end right there. Saitama's physical punch was halted due to forces beyond Jenos' control or understanding, and so was the psychological attack. Two paradoxes in one simple battle. This is the beauty of One Punch Man and an important lesson to be learned in our world. Don't boop out of malice, and the boop can be undone. Next punch! Saitama versus Seaweed Monster. When Seaweed Monster attacks Saitama, Saitama annihilates Seaweed Monster in one punch and then eats Seaweed Monster. Because, once again, this is the only theme repeated in the entire One Punch Man. As we know, everything in One Punch Man brings something new to the table. Every punch is to teach us an entire new way of life, except for the fight with Cabbage Monster. Because Cabbage Monster is a repeat of what we saw with Carnage Kabuto. Nothing stands between a man and his tummy, not even if he's eating his opponent. So this is clearly the most important lesson to be learned from the entire series, and it goes without saying that this is the one that most of us probably relate to on the deepest level. Anyway, figured it would go without saying, but figured it would be worth saying anyway. Next punch! Saitama versus the Deep Sea King. So as we know, Saitama delivered the final blow and also stopped the rain, but I will be doing an entirely different video on that because that was Moomin Rider's fight, not really Saitama's. He kind of came in at the last minute, finishing up the beautiful themes of what the Rider of Moomin has to offer. After all, that guy can cycle while standing, and all due respect to Saitama, but we've never seen him do that, and if we've never seen him do it, he probably can't. That's the power scaling rules YouTube goes by. I don't judge. This is Moomin Rider's fight. We're not going to talk about the super complex themes about how rain always plays during sad scenes, and Saitama defeating Deep Sea King, someone who cherishes the rain and also defeated some of Saitama's former allies. He blows a hole in Deep Sea King as well as blowing away all the rain clouds and stopping the rain because he is the light that saved all of his friends, and saving your friends always brings joy and happiness to the world, as opposed to the dark, somber shroud of rain that is coming down in every sad scene of every single movie ever, as total coincidence because Saitama can can destroy coincidences, obviously, with one punch. I thought that was very simple, very straightforward. We'll be covering that in Moomin Rider's analysis. Next punch! Saitama versus the Cthulhu monster. So Cthulhu monster has tentacles and this round head thingo and a lot of eyeballs and this mouth that looks exactly like a vagina. So Saitama hit that. Pretty straightforward, self-explanatory, and I'm sure everyone that saw this thought that immediately, because you're all degenerative weebs, and in hentai, all vaginas sort of look like Cthulhu monsters with tentacles and eyeballs. Next punch! Saitama punching the Meteor. So, big meteor is flying down from outer space. Saitama's the only one who can stop it. He jumps up, he punches it. Shards go everywhere, destroy the city, and probably kill hundreds of people. Now, most of you are thinking, if Saitama can move at like light speeds and stuff, shouldn't he be able to fly around and catch all the shards or disintegrate them to points that they wouldn't be able to hurt anybody? Yes, he could, and that's the beauty of why Saitama let so many innocent people die. If he would do that, there would be no credit for anyone else to take, and he couldn't become the villain in the world's eyes so that they can unanimously shift their hate towards him, thereby embracing peace. You know the end of Code Geass? You know the Naruto final war where all the nations got together to fight a final enemy? Saitama saved the world, but also destroyed the world, because he will destroy the world and create one anew. Saitama is the change you will see in the world. Be the Saitama you want to see in the world. Saitama will take that villain role and kill hundreds of innocents for no reason to become the monster in their eyes, unifying humanity at last. I mean, that's one interpretation of the scene. The other slightly less edgy interpretation is he destroyed the meteor and the rest of the shards killed everyone else, and it didn't really make much of a difference to him because Saitama, once again, represents the human psyche, and most people are douches and don't care about others. So Saitama represents that in the scene beautifully, as he doesn't care that shards of meteors are destroying the city and probably killing thousands of innocents. So, once again, beautiful meta-commentary on society, telling us the sad truths about humanity that most of us do not want to hear, but alas, what can we do? Also gave him a sick excuse to fight Tank Top Black Hole and Tank Top Tiger, introducing the Tank Top family, but that's a story for another video. Next sort of punch! When he was playing Rock, Paper, Scissors against Bang, they played Rock, Paper, Scissors. The winner would have to grab a hammer and then whack his opponent. So, of course, Bang wins first, because he's an old guy and no one messes with anime old dudes. And then when Saitama wins, Bang dodges Saitama's attack. Now, Saitama's attack's obviously going at like infinite miles per hour. So how could Bang dodge it? And the answer is because he's an old dude, and in anime, all old dudes are epically badass and powerful. You're probably waiting for the meta commentary to the world, and that is, don't pick fights with old dudes. Just don't do it. Grandfather freaking kills me every time we sumo wrestle. It's insane. Next punch! Saitama versus Barros. I don't know, fam. This was just a punch. Pretty underwhelming, if you ask me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribble for future anime analysis or satire, be it One Punch Man or others. And feel free to hit that like, because you're sure to have learned something you didn't think of before. Whether it's how to treat women or how to boop your friends, there's something here for everybody. And that's why I, Knux Taku, am the most educational anime channel on YouTube. Seriously though, I am planning on doing an entire analysis on the Saitama versus Barros fight, which is why I held back from my ingenious, life-altering commentary here. Link in the description to my Twitter. Feel free to follow me there, as well as a link to my Patreon. All patrons are invited to the Discord server where I hang, and it really helps keep the channel going. This is a long video and clearly took much manpower to put together. It is extremely appreciated. So I especially wanted to thank David Anole, Negus Nogus, Burning Bush, Rise Warren, Sage of Snake, Wilson Fletcher, Team Sparky65, The Unknown Otaku, Girthy Wim Jim, Allison Stricker, The Wolf of Gar, JD Finchery, Laser, The Ethan, Ravy Landek, Kevin McCline, Jordan, White Noise 32, Nasty Frank's Barbecue, Talon, Bestest Daddy Cross, Mitchell Garnett, Miriam Ramirez, Chezzy, Hammers the Great, Breeze Lord of the Gilgameshu, Billy Thompson, Serial Flex Offender, Sheenon, Kid Ori, JJ Slaybrands, The Night Brights, LJ, Kaiser Wanar, Don Soko, Professor Scythe, Divine Reigns, Hexile, Teakui, Skylar Leg, Samuel Guzman, Burning Halo, Karma, Lane Shelley, and TM Philly. I wanted to thank the Lord Tweegerank, Anthony Booth, Chubbs is the Man, Noctris 13, MD, Adria Pika, Sosa Nerdified, Everest, The Ninth Master, and Esposito. Thanks to the God Usopp Rank, Dark Element, Eduardo Flores, Puzerker, Muafak, Necro, Sunny Parks, Maurice Luis Dreyfus, and Gintama for Life, and thanks to the man, the myth, the legend, Steve. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for helping support this channel. It means a great deal to me. I don't know when this video is coming out in proximity to my 500k special, which is taking a lot of time to put together because it's probably going to be over an hour long. It's definitely going to be over an hour long. and I hope you do enjoy it. If this is out first, thanks guys for 500k subs. That's like insane. And if I'm already calling it insane, well then, you know it's the real deal. I thank you so much for sticking around until this point. Have yourselves a most wonderful evening, and remember to be the Saitama you want to see in the world.